Hello guys, welcome back to day number 4 here. So, we're trying out a few new things, I guess. First of all, instead of using our Twitch overlay, we decided to just go with the base ultra wide, see how that works for YouTube. And also, I think we are going to be trying out doing at least for one video, more than a day. So I realized doing it as a day, there's a lot of stuff that is more tedious. You guys got to kind of watch through. And by doing it that way, it does kind of hinder the viewer experience to some degree. So we're going to try out for one. Let me know what you guys think. If we want to go back to the normal daily style, we could definitely do that. But for the moment, I figured we could give it a try for one episode here. So I looked around base a bit, and I did see one or two upgrades we could do. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to take a stack of this copper here, craft up some rope, and we're actually going to go put out an orbital exchange interface. Alright, now that we have the orbital exchange interface out here, one tip, you want to try to keep it a little away from your base, is usually the go-to. So by keeping it away from your base, it lowers the chance of the pod dropping next to your base. So usually you want to build it out until you get up to the way down the line at the tier 5. There's an advanced interface, but that requires a lot of grind to get up to that point. Now, for the OEI here, there's two options. One is request, and the other is request equipment. So when you hit request, the yellow button, that one's going to be used for calling down a pod to send up exotics or any workshop items you have back up to your central space station. Now, request equipment is the main thing that's interesting us. So at this point, we've only got maybe 100 Ren, right? Which is not really a lot. So there's not too many options. However, we're getting close to being able to get this using just the money from this world, which is going to add a oxygen slot, food slot, and water slot. And then eventually you can upgrade to some of these here. They're going to give you a lot more benefits. And then like way down the line when you get out to Prometheus or we get red exotics going on this world, you can get a Hollier Enviro suit. But that's one of the big ones. Some people will go for like armor if you're doing missions, or they'll go here and get a backpack or something. Now, it's worth being selective on these and kind of pick what is important to you, right? Now, this one right here is probably one of my favorites to add on the patcher module. Based on how many slots you have, you can just add extra rows to your suits, which is absolutely amazing. You know, there's some really good stuff that's in the red exotics, but it's going to be a bit till we get there. But it is worth though taking a look through these and figuring out what you want to invest into. One of my favorites over here is actually these Larkwell arrows. So they do more damage than like tier 4 arrows with a low break chance. They are expensive to research, but after that, they're a pretty good deal, honestly. So I recommend you take some time, look through these, and figure out what is important to you. And then kind of keep that in mind when you're starting to collect up Ren and exotics. But I did want to place that down to show you guys. So we're going to head back up to base and see what we're doing next. Alright, so I took a look a bit through the base, and I think I've decided what our next project is going to be for today. So today I want to go out, I'm going to get some wood, and we're going to start actually building out, in wood still, the frame for this base. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're going to build across this river. I'm going to leave a maintenance floor where we can have a couple sets of water wheels underneath. But apart from that, I figured we could just get that going. We'll have like a maintenance floor, and then I'm thinking we'll have two other floors, and then maybe we'll eventually build out some long houses off the edges. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out, get some wood here, and see what we can get done over there. Alright, so we have got plenty of wood and we are now heavily overweight. So let's head back to the house, depot, and then probably go back for another run or two. Alright, so I actually ended up just crafting up a water skin because this is going to let us keep some water on the go with us so we don't have to worry about constantly coming back for water. Definitely water skins, oxygen bladders, these things are going to let you start traveling for longer distances and not having to constantly be coming back to base. Alright, we got our big heavy load of wood. Gonna bring back, and then I think we're gonna get started on getting the base framed out and designed. Alright, yeah, that looks looks like a decent amount of wood to work with. Let me go get one last batch of fiber, I think, because, yeah, it takes roughly the same amount of fiber as wood, so that's gonna be our limiting factor. So let's grab that real quick and be right back. Alright, we're home for the storm here. Let's drop off all that stuff. It looks like we actually are out of room in the wood stick and fiber chest, so we should have plenty of materials here to work with for the build. Now, let's just get through this storm here, and I'm going to start building. Alright, it looks like we made it through the worst of the storm here. Had to do a little bit of mid-storm repairs, but this is where we're going to start off our base build. So I want to kind of leave the edge of the waterfall, and we want to make sure that the foundations, like the base layer, is just enough here where it's above the highest kind of rock formations. That'll give us as much room as we can for that base floor, and we should be able to still decently do the wind turbines or water turbine thingies underwater. So let's go get that down here, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got kind of the base framing for this first floor here. I think it's a pretty decent shape for the first building. We're gonna eventually add on more floors and stuff, but for the moment, I think this gives us a pretty good shape to work with for this first area of the base. What I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go get down the floors and build at least a shack on the other end that we can start moving stuff in, but let's get that done real quick. Alright, we got a decent start here for the day. I need to go get my character some rest to get through the night so we can still see what we're building, and we'll be right back on the build. Alright, so we got a little hut over here to work with, and I'm going to use this to just start moving everything in, and that's going to give us a little bit of time to actually start on the build and expand it. All right, looks like the place is nice and empty now, so pretty much I just need to start tearing this place down and finish expanding out the base here, and then we can get back to it. All right, looks like that's all taken out. I'm gonna leave this for last because at the end there I am gonna need to build a new way down. All right, we got a nice little patio back here too we can use. This is gonna be where the building kind of transitions into the path down. All right, we're starting to run low on materials a bit here, but we've got the new pathway fully hooked into where the building's going to be. So this should be a good start right here. I'm going to keep working on it as we go and see what I can get done with these materials. But my hope is we should be able to build something pretty decent here. All right, we ran out of mats, but we got a pretty good start here. I need to go quickly cut some wood before we have a storm hit, but I mean, apart from that, we're starting to have a pretty good framework for the first floor. The rough idea is we're going to have a second floor up here as well, and then we'll have to have like under there maintenance area. But apart from that, it's not looking too bad. Gonna just probably the top is going to be like a peaked roof, I think. But I'm liking what it's doing so far. I might be able to move some pieces around, but we'll start off by just getting everything built up. For the time being, I think it's a pretty good start, honestly. So let's go rush out, get some wood real quick, and be right back. Oh, fuck. Alright. I need to quickly craft up some roofs. Yeah, we got a severe wind event coming through. And that symbol looks a little angry up there. My main goal right now is just to keep all of this stuff from breaking. Alright, it looks like we survived that storm without the base fully falling apart. Definitely took a little bit of damage from the storm, but you know what? It made it through and nothing broke, so that's what matters. Alright, we're gonna need a pile more of floors here. Looks like we need 6 more floors and 6, 8, 10, 12 walls to at least finish out the box for now. I want to do a lot more with this, but for now I just wanted to get the framework of where the base is going to be. So once we hit that level 15 mark that unlocks us the different crafting stations, we have that as a good option. Alright, got most of these pieces crafting up now. We're gonna get whatever we can in, and then we're gonna go get some quick sleep and get into the next day. We'll throw this just right down here for now so we can make sure we have access to clean water. Alright, also, I'm thinking we're gonna do a wraparound porch on the front. Nothing too crazy, but I was looking at this and I wanna give this a little more shape than what we got right now. I know the roof's gonna add a bit, but I think at the same time, if we want this to look, you know, a little more decent, a porch is probably gonna be the way to go. Alright, so we made a little staircase and we now have access up here. Like I said, we're gonna do a kind of low diagonal style with this place. I need to let me make a beam here, and let's see what kind of options we have for this. I think, unfortunately, it might only offer 45-degree angle. I was hoping we'd be able to do a different shape, but I think we're probably going to be more limited here. And doing the low 45-degree peak is probably going to be our best bet to make something nice up here. There we go. We got the nice shape coming in here. Alright, I'm going to have to cut down some more wood, because it looks like before I put any of the framing in, we're actually going to have to put some of like the roof and slanting in first. But I'm liking where it's going. I just need to make sure I'm adding a bit more shape to this place. That way it doesn't end up just being a, you know, cube. Because it is very easy in these games to just make a cube. Like, most builds do tend to end up becoming some kind of cube. And if you want to avoid that, you gotta just slowly tweak stuff until you're at a point where you're a bit more happy with it. There we go. We managed to hit level 15 while we were building. Or level 13, my bad. But, so we're starting to progress. Things are moving along faster and faster, which is what we are wanting to see. The only thing is, you gotta get these things to snap, which is not always the most easy. I may have to accept I'm not fully going to be able to rim this the way I was wanting to here. Because sometimes just getting things to be in the way you want them is not really doable. Because the game has its way it likes to do things, and with these, it does not look like it wants to let me place it alongside here in the middle. I was able to make it work for out there, but that was only because I had put in these beams, and I'm not 100% sure if we can get them on the edge here. Like, I think theoretically we could maybe do that, and then will it let us do that? Oh, wait. We removed that after. So we might just have to, like, place these ahead of time. Alright, where there's a will, there's a way. It's just a very tedious way. Alright, so we got this starting to work. I will say, the structural support is kind of rough when we get up to this point. However, that is only because we are working with wood. So once we do get this upgrade to stone, especially if we start with these support beams, it should have a much higher level of support for the base. So it shouldn't be an issue at all. We just have to kind of be careful not to do anything too crazy here. But for the moment, I think it's going to work out pretty nice. Like, up here, this is probably where I'm going to put... I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we do like a little kitchen and like sleeping quarters up here. We could also just have like our armor and, you know, weapons and tools. Like, it's just it is a bit of a work in progress. So we're gonna have to wait and see what the end product looks like. But for the time being, I'm liking where this is heading. I just need to get a lot more wood and some fiber, and then we should be good to go. I don't know why I thought that would work. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Just trying to cut trees! God damn. Look, I'm just out here trying to get some wood. 3 walls, 8. Okay, so we need 3 walls and 8 triangles more to finish up that framing. And then this top floor will be done. You'll see the structural supports are struggling so hard to keep this up. So we'll have to see how this works. But right now it's just wood, so I'm assuming it should get better once we get all that upgraded. Also, I may have to move these later if it's not working out too well, but I decided to move over the contact and orbital exchange board up here just to give them some easier access from the base. I'll have to experiment a bit more and see how they work with like where stuff is landing, but I think overall it's not going to be too bad. I'm actually going to take a pause from building for a second and grab one of these quests just because I want to switch things up, get into something else. Like whenever you're doing a long project like this, sometimes you just need to take a short pause and just do something else for the sake of your brain. Like you see there was a bunch of trees down there and now there's not. I've been doing a little bit of clear cutting here. So it'll be nice to get a pause and go hunt down this hidden cache. I mean, overall, I'm liking the direction it's heading. I'm thinking on that end and that end eventually, I'm going to add some, like, longhouses, make it into a bit of a U shape. But for the moment, I think it's working pretty well. Alright, looks like we made it out to the site, and I'm immediately seeing the hidden cache. And it looks like we're clear from any wolves. Ooh. I'll actually take some food right now. That sounds pretty good. Right now our food stockpiles are not great. I think we haven't really been putting anything into it, so that'll be nice. We also do not have seeds for these two yet, so I think it might be time to make a seed processor, and that way we can get just a couple seeds going. Oh, before we go back to base, let's grab a little bit of wood. Oh, and the level 14, nice. We're pushing close to level 15, and that's when we gotta switch materials for our builds. So maybe we'll be level 15 by the time we finish these materials. Alright, we got everything crafting up here now, so we should be able to finish off this build now. Just got to get all these pieces in place, and from there, I mean, it comes down to just working on that porch, and then I think I can say that I'm pretty happy for where we're at for the time being. Alright, so upstairs is fully walled off, and then for downstairs, we're still leaving it open for the moment. This thing over here is probably going to get a rework eventually. Once I can get this kind of walkway porch in, then I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do for that wall. And I got a lot of other stuff I'm considering doing inside, but it's going to take a little bit of planning to figure out what is going to look good. All right, it looks like we got a nice porch shape coming together here. So this will give us something that we can kind of just go across in front of the base and break up the shaping a little bit on it. That way it's not just a cube with a slanted roof. Oh, well, thankfully we didn't fall off the edge fully, but we're starting to get this framed out here. I'll probably put in like some half pitch roofs over that. It'll still keep it from being flat, but make sure it's not just blending directly into the roof above. All right, let's top off our oxygen. Craft a seed extractor. Throw these seeds in. And get a little nap. All right, now that we got the framing getting started here for the walkway, We're gonna need more wood, but like I said, we're gonna keep mixing it up by getting a simple mission in there. And now, when you're early on, getting these in is gonna be really big for starting to build up your Ren and make sure you're getting some good levels. Oh, we have Lost. I'm gonna show you guys this one. So Lost is really good early on for one reason. And that reason is you get a free beacon without having to go up to like tier 3 and 4 to make it. All right, it looks like it dropped that in the Arctic. So that is going to be a rougher trip, but I'm feeling feeling a lot of false confidence. So we'll give it a try here. To make sure we can survive this though, we're going to have to change some stuff up. So first thing we need to do is we need to go make a hot beverage. So the way you make a hot beverage in this game, because keep in mind this cool water we're using decreases your temperature. So what we need to do is we need to go find this, and we should have either some like coffee or tea leaves. And what you need to do is you just need to go grab some of those, get a full container, and then in your fireplace, you just place that and the leaf you're using, and it looks like about a minute and a half, this will turn into a hot coffee. And instead of decreasing our temperature by 5 degrees Celsius, it's going to increase it by 10. And we're also going to get plus 10% max stamina and stamina regen, which is going to be really big. Also, while that coffee's cooking up, let's put away the recurve bow and bone arrows, and we're gonna go grab our good bow and good arrows. That's gonna just do what we can to make sure we survive, since we might have to fight off some pretty rough enemies. So you wanna have all your best stuff. Like we're also gonna bring our bolt action rifle and stack of ammo. And just anything we can kind of do to maximize our chances of survival, we're going to take it. Alright, looks like the water skin is full of coffee, so we should be ready to go. We got some good foods, we got coffee, and we got some good weapons. We don't have a lot of heat resistance, but we're going to make it do for the time being. Oh, whoop. Alright, now we're entering the Arctic here, which means things are potentially going to get a little spicy. So with the Arctic, you have a lot higher difficulty enemies in there. Instead of brown bears, you have polar bears. Instead of wolves, you have snow wolves. And I think there's a few other assorted things I'm forgetting about. But either way, you know, be careful. Like, these biomes have an additional threat of cold. So in the forest, all you had to worry about was enemies. Now this is adding on temperature as the thing you have to manage too. So pretty much just play it safe. You see there's a bunch of wolves there. I know they're probably about to attack me. So I'm going to start taking them out. See, this is why I brought our best weapon, because we might have to fight off a good chunk of stuff. We got a snow wolf over here too. Currently no polar bears, which is good, because polar bears is really the only thing that's causing me any concern. Like the snow wolves, they're a little rougher than what we've been facing, but it's pretty manageable. Now, I'm just picking them up and dropping them because I just want to get my arrows back. I don't really have time right now to just skin all of these. Well, maybe that's a lie. If I skin them, I might be able to get some Arctic pelts here. So let me just get him in a big pile of the skin. I am starting to realize I don't think these guys have Arctic belts. And snow wolves do have much larger pack sizes, so you gotta be a little careful there. I'm also remembering the arrows I missed where they're at, because if you don't grab those, they're probably gone. So the one good thing about these guys are they do give more XP each one than you would get from a regular wolf. So right now we are getting a pretty decent amount of XP. If I just look, I think I got like roughly 2,000. As you can tell, it is a bit brighter on my screen right now, so it's a little harder to read white text. That is the one downside of the Arctic. Hence why I don't spend a lot of time here. Alright, so we got the beacon here. And now we gotta figure out where this thing is. Okay, and it looks like it's right back by our base. Now, keep in mind, if you do not care about getting an extra beacon, you can just reuse the ones from these quests, and once the game detects that you have one in your inventory, it will actually just send the pod away and give you the location of the base that you gotta repair. Now, thankfully, because we did prep and bring that hot drink, it did keep us from dealing with any hypothermia. So ended up working out pretty well in our favor. Oh, we walked into a storm. Yeah, if you walk into a storm, it's usually better to just back up into the biome you were in for a minute and just let it pass. All right, well, we got a storm starting in this biome at the same time, so I think we'll take the other storm here because it's already past the red area. All right, so we're arriving here at the quest location. What we're going to need to do is immediately go in and we're going to check the chests real quick. So inside this base here, there's always one chest that's loot, and you don't have to hunt for it. It's always the exact same one. It's going to be the one on the right. Now, this place got fucked up by the storm, so this overflow bag has the stuff. And unfortunately, it did not have a hammer. Sometimes you'll get lucky and get a like platinum hammer, which will be a big upgrade versus the wooden one you're probably using in the meantime. But you pretty much just go through, start repairing. You're gonna have baby bears attacking your base. However, I tend to just see if I can outspeed them, because it doesn't matter if any pieces get destroyed. It's all the overall like average durability. So focusing on the top and walls, they're not going to take those out. If you can avoid getting stuck there like I did. But you pretty much just rush through, try to get everything you can repaired. And all you gotta do is hit 80%, so it doesn't matter if they take out some of the stuff. Technically, you can go down this one building piece. So if like the whole base got taken out with the exception of a single piece, you'd still pass the mission if you repair that one piece. Now, when I hit near the end, if they're doing too much damage, I can start dealing with them. But for the moment, you'll see it looks like I should be able to do it. There we go. See? I was able to ignore all those guys, and all I gotta do is throw down this beacon real quick, and then I can just deal with whatever polar bear cubs have spawned through the time. Now, at the end of it, pick up your beacon, and you just have a free beacon. Now, for some reason, because the drop pod was in the Arctic, we're actually getting polar bear cubs out here. which is something I have not actually ever seen in the forest. Oh, and they cannot be skinned with a bone knife. I guess they require a higher tier knife. Either way, though, once they're dealt with, you get everything that was in that chest, which we got some steel bolts, Wayfarer arms, and health recovery tonic. 1 second. So we should be good on that. Let's go grab the reward pod and see what we got. Also, apparently I missed it at one point, but we did hit level 15, which opened up a ton of stuff on the blueprint tree that we're going to have to check out, since we might be able to start upgrading some of these supports. This is useless till we get the alteration bench. We do not have these seeds, though, so that might come in handy. However, I think for the moment, just getting some metals is probably going to serve us a lot better. Alright, now that we're back at base, this beacon is one of my favorite things. You can use this for caves, for deep ore veins, but what you do is you click on it, and you set your icon that you want to display on the compass and minimap, and then you can actually go set the color, like we'll set this to a nice purple. We can call it home base, and you set how far you want it to show on the compass. Now, I don't recommend setting it to no limit, because if you're on the other side of the map, you probably don't need to see where your base is, at least on the compass, because you're not going to be going in a straight line. So I usually set this to somewhere in this range, and there you go. Now, so whenever we look at the map, we got a marker for it, home base, and you'll be able to, within like a 500 meter range, see it on your compass like we see now. So really handy to get these, and if we do want to ever skip going to get the pod, we can just pick this up and bring it to skip that step. Now, one advantage, though, of collecting them is you can start putting them on all your deep ore veins to make it easier to locate them. Alright, now that I have the tech tree up here, so the few things we had to wait on for level 15 we now have access to. So some of the big ones are we have access to the ranching station. This is going to let us start making some basic stuff for our animals, and this will let us start taming a mount. Now, if we also look over this way, the other big thing we unlocked is carpentry masonry bench. So this is going to let us get a hold of some nice stuff for our base. The biggest thing being the stone building set. So that's going to let us actually start upgrading some of these supports. Now, stone can resist tier 5 storms, which is very useful. So it's definitely something you want to try getting a hold of when you can. And then interior wood is just it only resists tier 1, but it's much nicer option for flooring. That way you don't have these regular things, whatever you call them. Yeah, our base looks like it took a little damage while we were gone. And once we get this upgrade, the stone, it's going to be a massive change. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to get the masonry bench thrown down. And that's going to let us at least upgrade the supports. And then we'll see about doing more later. But I think for now, just getting the supports upgraded is going to be pretty useful. So I finally pulled the trigger and got us a anvil, because I figured it's probably about time to have one of these. Alright, so I think what we're going to do, since we are short on a few materials, is we're going to just make this bench between streams, because we're going to have to go out and just get some more wood for it. We got everything else, though. And then I'm going to try to see if I can go get these beams upgraded, the stone at least, and maybe even get down the carpentry table, so that way we can start upgrading the space. I might even just try doing as much of that as I can between streams, just to save you guys the time of watching me do that. But either way, we will be back again tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep up with doing one of these a day. No promises since new to doing this, but I'm going to do my best to make sure we get at least one of these made each day.